All right, it's 6:58. Maybe a few seconds before I go live. So you just gonna sit here and watch me get ready. That's okay. Make sure I share this to Facebook. Hmm. Okay, I'm getting better than this. Getting better at this. A few things I gotta do is okay. 7 o'clock. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. I think I'm gonna go an hour tonight. If you if you're here, you probably hear me. Yeah, at least a round of applause for that. I gotta get these things memorized. Cheering. Got a few things going on. Got a few things going on. Oh, gotta record the audio because it's all about the podcast. Let me stop this. I'm telling you, I need a producer. Okay, boom, good microphone. Those are, you see, you see people doing a podcast, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of work involved with it. Especially if you go recording, you probably hear a little echo or a little sound because my reverb and all that in the room is kind of gotta get it right, gotta get it right. But I'm gonna get it right. We gonna get it right. All right. So we're recording. Boom. Making One Community Connections presents men of a certain age. Um, we are recording this and streaming this live. So give us a self a hand. Last night week we had I didn't do anything last week. Oh yeah, I'm stopping myself because with everything that was going on with the slapgate. Funny, I should pick that sound effect. Um, really hurt my spirit. Really hurt my spirit. Will Smith is definitely a favorite actor of mine, one of my favorite actors. And people can be fickle. At no point do I think that we should overlook what he did, based on his past. But I think most of us would like a little grace when we go through things. And obviously, we know this outside of his character. Um, Definitely nothing he's ever done before that we know of. So I really, think that we should look at, don't just caught up in the headlines, don't get caught up in the spectacle of the moment. Really look at a person. Um, and I posted something about, and I had to retract it because I realized that it ain't just about how I feel about situations. It's others involved. Many of you may not know about the incident that surrounding my father, and we might talk about it one day more in depth, but not right now because it's not about me. But I posted something, and I had to do a quick company breaks. Anyway, the main thing I wanted to say was that at my father's funeral, Pastor aside, Jarvis aside, great man, good man. Thank you so much. He said something as he was eulogizing my father, and I really stuck with me. I want to paraphrase the word, but I'm paraphrasing them. Is that you don't want to be judged. Who are you to judge somebody about the worst moment of their life when God knows the whole story? You know, God knows the whole story. So didn't really want to touch on that. His punishment's been handed down. The still story still has legs, and and big on community connection. We said we won't go and just talk about people. We want to talk about things and dig deeper. And I think with social media, it's very easy to get caught up in this spectacle. I really don't watch the award shows. And I haven't watched award shows or even BT for that matter. In probably 20, 15, 16 years. I think last time I really watched the episode BT award show was Jamie Foxx was hosting. I think it was right when Michael Jackson died. And I want to see what kind of respect they would put on his name. Um, We know that show wasn't a very great show. Anyway, Jamie Foxx got kind of winded trying to do the boy, he got winded trying to do the moonwalk. Yeah, that's what it was. He was trying to do the moonwalk. So that's that. I put out an offer for people who want to start doing their own YouTube thing that I'm willing to help. Um, hell, I have a whole studio set up in my house. You know, green screen, and everything. Lights, cameras, multiple cameras. I have three 4K cameras. Well, they're from China, so I don't know if they're really 4K. No, I'm not saying China doesn't do quality stuff. Uh, Not when we're doing everything quality in China does isn't quality. So I have three cameras, one handheld, two desktop cameras. I have mixers. I have Stream Deck. I'm thinking Jerome runs. Hood Professionals helped me with the Stream Deck. I use OBS software, which is free software. Free 99 is good. A lot of people use Real Stream, I think it's called Real Labs. Stream Lab. Anyway, a lot of people use some of the paid software, but me starting out, this is version 2.2, I guess, because 2.1 was last week because we lost the video on that. No, we lost the audio on that. No, the week before. Had lost the audio, so we got the audio. We getting it working. Again, the goal is for my birthday to have a up and running. Lord, can we do that? Up and running podcast and streaming show. I'm getting close to that. You know, I don't make mistakes. Let me rephrase that. I personally make mistakes, but in this picture, it's not mistakes. It's things that we learned that we got to do better next time. So we're getting there. We're getting there. And it's not just me, it's us thing. You know, making one community connections. This is my brand, which is something I came up coming back home, especially when I was going through the middle of everything. Maybe before that, no, before that, because what I got for you tonight is a product of when I first started, one of the first things I was doing in school. Um, with Middle Georgia State, graduated 2015, blah, blah, blah. I won't get into that yet. So the war is still raging in Ukraine. Take 48 days we've gone. KBJ, Kinja, my God, I can't say that. Justice Brown Jackson has been confirmed. We got to give her an applause, an applause. First African American woman nominated to the Supreme Court. Um, and with that, oh boy, comes a whole lot of Facebook, social media controversy. Is she gonna be conservative? Is she really black because she has a white husband? And blah 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 blah. Interesting enough that a lot of people don't know that W.B. Du Bois had a white wife, and I don't think anybody would question his dedication to African American in America. But you know, it's a whole different discussion. Well, actually, not a big discussion because he's one of my three grandfathers. You know, our three grandfathers. I don't want to jump into that quite yet. You know, I really got to get a team. You got the number online. You can dial in 478-200-7958 if you want to participate in this hometown discussion. Things current events is going on. Well, we talk about the war. Russia is preparing for a big, supposedly, um, counteroffensive. Now, there was a there was a report that Russian soldiers were digging into the Red Valley. And if you know about Chernobyl, which was, if you're unable, you know, those who are not really big on current events or past events past 20, 30 years, Chernobyl in Ukraine was a nuclear plant that had a accident. Um, and HBO had a wonderful documentary about what went wrong in Chernobyl. But you know, those who know anything about nuclear energy knows that once the half life is what 10,000 years, something like that, 1,000 years, 2,000 years, that ground is going to be contaminated. You know, there were reports that Russian soldiers were digging foxholes or fortified positions in contaminated grounds. And when I read that report, I'm an ex submariner, nuclear submarine, United States Navy. That really, and my ex Army reservist. So, you know, chemical, biological, radiological warfare is something I've had, not a expert in, but something I've been had a little training. Did it, trained on it, got the T-shirt. Um, the idea that soldiers would go into the Ukraine, occupy Chernobyl, where we know there's radiation, fallout, well, not fallout, but fallout isn't coming down. There's contamination, and not have a Geiger counter to read the radiation, and even if they, okay, said he didn't even have it, to dig holes in grounds that is 5 times the safe limit minimum of radiation on human exposure rims. I don't get off to certain terms. It's just like, huh? I can't fathom. Um, and I don't think I do always advise against chest beating as Americans, but I can't imagine our soldiers doing something so asinine. You know, I don't care if you're E1. If you just had boot camp, you realize that wait a second, know your surroundings. Art of war, know your surroundings, know the land. Wait a second. Isn't it possible that this place is not going to be good? It's going to shorten my life by like 20, 30 years if we spend a significant amount of time around here. So I really hope this is propaganda on our part. As sad as it sounds, that's one report I really hope is not true because if it is true, it causes me to rethink how we looked at the Soviet Union, well, Russia, Soviet Union no more, and about their capability. I know that the world, is built on projection of strength. Governments got to have these projections of strength, and the big bad, is standard wisdom states that China and Russia are the two big bads. And if we see them make a lot of blunders, Russia that is, in occupying Ukraine, I guess their arrogance made them think it was going to be a big shock and all. We'll walk in, they're going to sit down, blah, blah, blah. But if you're getting stuff that basic wrong, I have to question your ability to really be the bad guy. Now, I'm not saying don't be wrong. This is what I'm saying. Their actions are wrong. But our perception of them as this big boogeyman. Oh, they got nuclear weapons, they got more nuclear weapons. Does. But they're just not acting like boogeyman, they're acting like dumbasses. And that's fucking scary. I can deal with a Russia that's that's these chess masters. This is the stereotype we have in Russia. They play chess. They're big burly man, manly man. But damn, dog, you're digging a fucking foxhole, 4-5 position, in the middle of a contaminated land. Dude, you're fucking dumb. You're not burly. You're just a dumbass. You're a fucking bully, dumbass bully. You're a fucking knuckle dragger. And that is fucking scary. Knuckle draggers with a chip on their shoulder who feel like they have a point to prove to the world. This is like, oh my God, this is worse. I'd rather they be just strategic masters that understand that, well reserved and well thought out. You want that kind of enemy. And as bad as it sounds, listen to the words. You want for a global society, you want actors who think what they're doing. We know Lil Kim in North Korea. He blusters, he pushes the line, but he's not. Well, he may be a dumbass, but he's not. He's. I have to believe that there's some calculations in his bluster. Like one of the things that happened during the initial phase was he tested the ICBM. You know, I guess he was a fellow on his Dre. Don't forget about me. Don't forget about Dre. Anyway, he was on hold that whole tip, which okay, hey, remind us of the volatility of world things going on in this world. And if a lot is going on in your get your ass off social media and delve a little deeper. Stop talking about their will and jail. You need to, these things that affect us. I was told there's an upcoming battle of resources coming to this world, and looks like we're starting to see the beginning. Because if you, again, I'm trying to give Russia the benefit of the doubt. What they did was wrong, but I understand from a geopolitical standpoint of why they would feel that NATO entering Ukraine is a bad thing. I don't think his actions were all right, or, and we're seeing that they're definitely not well thought out. So that's fucking scary. Um, Previous president, they seemed like Putin was just this, this awesome guy, and just like, his change character. Anyway, I don't get it wrong. That's a whole other, that's a whole other topic. But I think across the board, we all left on the right side, or those in the middle, seeing that we're looking at Putin like, what the fuck is this guy doing? I mean, your soldiers are digging foxholes in contaminated land. Your soldiers are your tools of your foreign policy. If you look at their resource, they're the implementation, your ideas of your foreign policy, especially when it comes to warfare, are personified and carried out by your soldiers. Yeah, you know your soldiers are going to die, but you don't use them. You don't put them in positions where, well, we're seeing he's put in positions where they're not well supported, they're obviously not well trained, and they're not. You're not supporting them logistically. Um, War crimes, the whole discussion of war crimes. I already don't want to get that one too deep, but you have madness going on, and this was his fucking plan. That's fucking scary. I know I'm cursing, but this show's not for kids. This is for grown folks having real conversations about real things. If like again, if you're not paying attention to what's going on, especially in world events, you're a dumbass and you really need to do better. Mother's Easter is next weekend. Shout out to everybody who celebrates Easter. Well, this applause. We see our kids, those who celebrate Easter, going to be dressed up. Our church is going to be back into in service, so give High Street Unitarian a big cheer for that. And I know a lot of churches have started beforehand, but it's big for us. A lot of our main demographic is older people. Um, that's another discussion we have one day. But our main population is a lot of older people, definitely over 65, who are high risk and vulnerable. So for us to put things in place to be able to successfully transition to a hybrid, we have some in service, some um, online. I think online hybrid services are going to be the new norm in our society. We talk a lot about getting back to normal, getting back to normal. This pandemic's still not over. Don't get it twisted. Do not get it twisted. Um, we understand that things that we are used to have changed, and for the foreseeable long term, that's okay. We're gonna get past it as long as we're vigilant and just keep covering our bases. Don't dig into contaminated ground. Yeah, I gotta dig in. So tonight I'm gonna do two things. We're talking about my three grandfathers, our three grandfathers, and I'm going to talk about your mama. And I'm saving your mama for last. All right. The great grandfathers. Back in 2010, I think Professor Cantwell had us do a project. Was it for Cantwell? No, it was a project we had to do. And some of us presented it to front of school. Mine was letters to my grandfathers. I talked about the three grandfathers of what I consider the African American thought now. If you look at anybody who we consider a leader now in the African American community, um, Dr. Umar Johnson, President Obama, um, or anyone, any learned man. Well, I've got to expand it to person, um, man or woman. But back then, it was mostly the men. I'm not underestimate Harriet Tubman um, and others who have made contributions. But I'm just talking about my grandfathers. I might do the notes of my grandmothers one day. Let's update to this one, but I'm talking about grandfathers right now, and that's okay because I'm talking about your mom at the end. Um, the three during the struggle of enslavement. Next week we're gonna have a good one. Charlie's gonna expand off of this one, but we're gonna have a good one talk about reparations and a big payback. Um, and before I got some homework for you. If you're watching this and you want to participate, please call in because next week I want to have that tough talk. I want us to be able to talk about reparations and such. And Atlanta, the series by Donna Glover had a wonderful episode last week, The Big Payback. And they dealt with reparations. And I want to use that as a tool to further our discussion on that. I might try to get Danny and a few others to call in and be on Zoom. I really need a producer. Really need a producer. And if I look at school credits, a young man or woman is looking into going into podcasting, media classes. Um, I have a studio they can use, and we barter. They get to use it, get to practice, and in exchange, they help me out. So that's that. But the three men that consider my grandfathers are Booker T. Washington, W.E.B. Du Bois, and Marcus Garvey, the great grandfathers. Now, if you think about it, you have a working class man who believed in the system, a man who believed in black excellence, and a man who said basically screw the system. So if you think about any, you can think about it's still in the African American community. We have that debate about what's best for us. How do we move forward? How do we navigate in this land that historically not been our best ally? And with the talk about not having to talk about critical race theory in school, which is not taught in school anyway. So somebody say, well, I don't want them teaching the critical race in school. And elementary school, though, they don't teach critical race. They may have discussion on racism and institutional racism, which is okay. We should be able to talk about these things. But some people are fearful of this. We talked about 2045 as being a turning point in America where whites are no longer the majority, but they will still be the biggest minority. In 2065 is basically the turning point of America's makeup. Yeah, those seem like a long time away. But it's really not. We're talking 20, 40 years. How America looks is going to change. So, and I say that because we, as African Americans as a group, have always been reactionary and proactive when dealing with coming with a plan of action. If you was to ask what's the African American agenda right now, you would get you would get crickets. You would get this sound right here. Awkward silence. Because you would have, or you would get a whole bunch of, well, the minister says, or I believe, or we believe. I think the group that has the best idea of what next is the brothers and sisters from the Nation of Islam. Um, whether you agree with Minister Farrakhan or not, he is definitely the closest thing to the idea of Garveyism that we have. And he has not strayed from his message much. So, I got about our friends in the nation, not part of the nation. I go to a church that's very mixed, but yeah, that's one of the trains of thought. He definitely, you can see where his ideology definitely comes down from Marcus Garvey, or has a relationship of Marcus Garvey about self-reliance. But anyway, we'll get to that one. But let's start with Booker T. Washington, American educator, author, orator, political leader, dominant figure in African American figures from 1890 to 1915. Was one of the last generations of black leaders to be born in slavery and spoke on behalf of blacks living in the South. He was able to maintain after the 25 years of his life to maintain standing as a major black leader because of sponsorships by powerful whites. Sustained his support within the black community, his ability to raise educational funds from both groups, and his accommodation to the social realities of the age of Jim Crow. Now, Booker T. Washington wasn't a rock the boat kind of guy. He was more of a look. We're in a strange land. Let's have our own little pockets, make our money, and we'll deal with this capitalism society on the language they understand, money. I understand his argument. I say I completely agree with him. I understand his argument, but I'm gonna allow him to speak in his words.
Booker T. Washington, the Atlanta Compromise speech. Mr. President and gentlemen of the Board of Directors and citizens, 1/3 of the population of the South is of the Negro race. No enterprise seeking the material, civil, or moral welfare of this section can disregard this element of our population and reach the highest success. I but convey to you, Mr. President and directors, the sentiment of the masses of my race when I say that in no way have the value and manhood of the American Negro been more fittingly and generously recognized than by the managers of the magnificent exposition at every stage of its process. It is a recognition that will do more to cement the friendship of the two races than any occurrence since the dawn of our freedom. Not only this, but the opportunity here afforded will awaken among us a new era of industrial progress. Ignorant and inexperienced, it is not strange that in the first years of our new life we began at the top instead of at the bottom, that a seat in Congress or the state legislature was more sought than real estate or industrial skill, that the political convention or stump speaking had more attractions than starting a dairy farm or truck garden. A ship lost at sea for many days suddenly sighted a friendly vessel. From the mast of the unfortunate vessel was seen a signal, "Water, water, we die of thirst." The answer from the friendly vessel at once came back, "Cast down your buckets where you are." A second time the signal, "Water, water, send us water," ran up from the distressed vessel and was answered, "Cast down your bucket where you are." And a third and fourth signal for water was answered, "Cast down your bucket where you are." The captain of the distressed vessel, at last heeding the injunction, cast down his bucket, and it came up full of fresh, sparkling water from the mouth of the Amazon River. To those of my race who depend on bettering their condition in a foreign land, or who underestimate the importance of cultivating friendly relations with the southern white man, who is their next door neighbor, I would say, cast down your bucket where you are. Cast it down in making friends in every manly way of the people of all races by whom we are surrounded. Cast it down in agriculture, mechanics, in commerce, in domestic service, and in the professions. And in the connection, it is well to bear in mind that whatever other sins the South may be called to bear, when it comes to business, pure and simple, it is in the South that the Negro is given a man's chance in the commercial world, and in nothing in this exposition more eloquent than in emphasizing this chance. Our greatest danger is that in the great leap from slavery to freedom, we may overlook the fact that the masses of us are to live by the productions of our hands, and fail to keep in mind that we shall prosper in proportion as we learn to dignify and glorify common labor, and put brains and skills into the common occupations of life, shall prosper in proportion as we learn to draw the line between the superficial and the substantial, the ornamental gewgaws of life and the useful. No race can prosper till it learns that there is as much dignity in tilling a field as in writing a poem. It is at the bottom of life we must begin, and not at the top, nor should we permit our grievances to overshadow our opportunities.
Okay. Well, I said his own words. Obviously, we didn't have a tape recorder for him to record it. Well, actually, that speech was recorded. But I had Terrence Marlowe Thompson the third, second, second. Um, A Trey, the son, um, is I had him read it for me the project when I did this at school. Now, my letter to him, I'm not gonna post that. I'll probably post it on our website because it's not. No, I want to have a further discussion. My second grandfather was Marcus Garvey. 17 August of 1887, 17 August 1887 to June 10 June 1940. Publisher, journalist, entrepreneur, black nationalist, Pan Africanist, the big what we consider the first Pan Africanist and orator. He was the founder of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League. Excuse me. Garvey was unique in advancing the Pan African philosophy to inspire a global mass movement focused on Africa, from which became Garveyism, which we now know as the Pan African movement. So I want you to hear his words.
Africa for Africans by Marcus Garvey. Say Africa for Africans, like America for Americans. This is a rallying cry for the nation, be in peace for our revolution. Blacks are men, no longer cringing fools. They demand a place, not weak for tools. But among the world, a nation's great. They demand a free, self-governing state. Hurrah, hurrah, great Africa waits.
Don't stop. Let me do that. Let me
Africa
start
for
that.
Africans by Marcus Garvey. Say Africa for Africans, like America for Americans. This is a rallying cry for the nation, be in peace for our revolution. Blacks are men, no longer cringing fools. They demand a place, not weak for tools. But among the world, a nation's great. They demand a free, self-governing state. Hurrah, hurrah, great Africa wakes. She has called her sons, and none forsakes. But the cause of nation runs, even though assailed by enemy guns. Cry aloud and shout alone, hurrah! Time has changed, so hail Africa. We have now awakened right to see. We shall fight for dearest liberty. Mighty kingdoms have been truly reared on the bones of black men. Facts declared. History tells its awful, pungent truth. Uh, Africa awakes her rights forsooth. Europeans cry to Europeans whole. Asiatics claim Asia. So, Australia for Australians and Africa for Africans. Black men's hands have joined now together. They will fight and brave all death's weather. Motherland to save and make her free, spreading joy for all to live and see. None shall turn us back. In freedom's name, we are marching like to men of fame, who have given laws and codes to kings, sending evil flying on crippled wings. Black men shall in groups reassemble, rich and poor, and great and humble. Justice shall be their rallying cry when millions of soldiers pass us by. Look for that day coming surely soon, when the son of Ham will show no coon. Could the mighty deeds of valor do, which shall bring giants for peace to sue. Hurrah, hurrah, but the times are near. Let us front the conflict and prepare. Great and war soldiers, bravely true. Sunder not, Africa shouts to you.
Again, the words of Marcus Garvey, um, the grandfather of what we consider the Pan African movement. Come to my third and final grandfather, or our third and final grandfather, W.E.B. Du Bois. Born February 23rd, 1868, died August 27th, 1963. American civil rights activist, sociologist, historian, author, and editor. Graduated from Harvard. He earned his doctorate, later became professor of history and economics at Atlanta University, became the head of the National Association of Colored People, NAACP. He established the Crisis Journal for the NAACP. He fought to end Jim Crow laws and later embraced socialism as a vital option for African Americans. He died one day before the famous "I Have a Dream" speech in Ghana. His words.
W.E.B. Du Bois, The Souls of Black Folk, 1903. The forethought. Herein lie buried many things which, if read with patience, may show the strange meaning of being black here in the dawning of the 20th century. This meaning is not without interest to you, gentle reader, for the problem of the 20th century is the problem of the color line. I pray you, then, receive my little book in all charity, studying my words with me, forgiving mistake, and fallible for stake of this faith and passion that is in me, and seeking the grain of truth hidden there. I have sought here to sketch in vague, uncertain outline the spiritual world in which 10,000 Americans live and strive. First, in two chapters, I have tried to show what emancipation meant to them and what was its aftermath. In the third chapter, I have pointed out to the slow rise of personal leadership and criticized candidly the leader who bears the chief burden of his race today. Then, in the other two chapters, I have sketched in swift outline the two worlds within and without the veil, and thus have come to the central problem of training men for life. Venturing now into deeper detail, I have in two chapters studied the struggles of the vast millions of black peasantry, and in another have sought to make clear the present relationship of the son and master and man's. Leaving then the world of the white man, I have stepped within the veil, raised it that you may view faintly its deeper recesses, the meaning of its religion, the passion of its human sorrow, and the struggle of its greater soul. All this I have ended with a tale twice told but seldom written.
Again, that's forward from the Souls of Black Folks by W.E.B. Du Bois. Good book. Hopefully, you consider reading it if you haven't already. Now, if you know me, again, if you listen to this, I am a person who promotes dialogue. So, in my worldview, as far as black, as far as blacks, what we need our agenda, the problem is formed from the directly formed from the views of these three men. Um, Again, we are talking about queens one day, but we was talking about my grandfathers. Um, these three men, I think, we still have this debate today. Whether it's Pan Africanism, whether it's just the stack your money and live in a capitalistic society, and or man, we're excellent, socialist. We still, or we're against capitalism and more bound to socialist views. I think all three are right. I can't find any fault, which is right, is any major fault into either one of the three philosophies. I think there's truth in all three. Um, but I think that we become so polarized within African American community. Excuse me. We try to put our values and our viewpoint and believe it's going to work for everyone. What works for Frank Dixon and his family and works for Kanye West and his family, probably not the same thing. Our views on race may be very similar, but our views on how to navigate and live a productive life and provide for our children the rights and dignity they deserve is probably going to be very different. Um, I have friends who, and I have people I really consider friends on the far left and far right. I may view their viewpoints, but I definitely believe in there's truth in these three grandfathers. Again, you look at any of our leaders now in the African American community, you can see where they they skew their views to one of these three, and I probably skew if I can get outside of myself and you really know me, you can really see which way I skew. You know, have an objective opinion on that, which I probably would disagree with. Um, but as long as you really know me, you really spend time with me, and really talk to me. But this is something like I said. This is from 2010, project I did for school, and I think it's even more relevant today as we face um, so many things, so a changing world, a world which we may inherit that's going to be on the downside because of um, climate change. And I know some people don't believe that, but however, we know that a report came out from the UN that a large number of climatologists, I think the last consensus was like 95 to 98%, really not 99, but I'm going to give you say like 98% agree that if we don't do something within the next 10 years, or I'm sorry, 8 years, because they said by the end of this decade, we're going to see massive shifts. I like to think that we're going to step up to the plate, but I love people, but I think humanity as a whole gets it wrong. I think that I'm gonna take your family to see Miami Beach, West Palm Beach, and the Florida Keys and New Orleans before it's underwater. I want to be wrong, however, but the next 4 or 5 years is what I'm taking my kids. Not saying this can happen within the next 8 years. It's projected to be out a little bit longer than that, but I would like to set some kids to say, hey, this was there. And they see it change, it becomes more real for them. That they have pictures, hopefully, and memories from that time before that we start having more, what would we say, more effects. Um, although last week we had tornadoes, maybe Bill Campbell, we had a big tornado before. Just weather patterns. The week before we had big drought, not drought warning, but a big brush fire warning because we hadn't had much rain. It's just these occurrences in our in our environment, our climate, have become a more common. Is it a science? Yes. Is it an exact science? No. But the way I look at it is this, and we have a debate on this. If they are wrong, say it's 50, boils down to 50-50. If there's a 50-50 chance they're wrong, then taking action um, may be costly, but we preserve a earth which we as man and women have stewardship over. You know, forget if you think we're man is elevated, empowered by God to use this earth. It still have stewardship over it. We affect it more than any other creature, any other organism in this in history. That's just a fact. Um, but mind you, because not only we change our environment to our will, and we do it sometimes without thinking of the consequences, thinking of nothing other than the financial consequences. Oh, we can dig, drill, baby, drill. People say that it really made me cringes. But we have a responsibility because our actions just don't affect humanity. It affects the earth, the whole ecosystem, the whole earth as a whole. Um, And I really believe, from the bottom of my heart, that if we push too hard, Earth is going to push back. So I think we need to be more cognizant of not just the financial burden that our the paradigm shift that we must do, but for prosperity. We say we don't want to leave our kids in debt, but you leaving a lot of money and nothing. Earth that has been that, that's gone. There was a size of on the Arctic shelves, the size of New York City, broke off. Um, you can look at the polar caps and see changes. You have polar bears that are their natural habitats being reduced drastically. I don't want to throw out a number, but large percentage. And we constantly talking about the financial. What about the cost to the earth itself? So I know it seems wrong, but I think that again, as African Americans, we have to start thinking now as we become a more input, more active role in the governance of the at this time the most powerful nation on this earth, on how our policies have to align with our values and define and figure out what our values are going to be. And again, these three men never had to deal with the idea of climate change, but they understand your place in a world that is changing. All right, so what? No, let's go 46 minutes talking about that. I said I'm gonna talk about your mama. Now I'm gonna talk about your mother. Mother's Day is coming up next month, and I want to have stories, hear stories about your mother. Good stories, um, funny stories. And I'm gonna post on my YouTube page a description of what I'm looking for. And what I'm looking for is these stories. I want to keep them under 5 minutes, between 2 to 5 minutes. Hopefully, well under 5 minutes, but 2 to 5 minutes, 2 minutes to 5 minutes. Talk about your mom. I want these stories so that we can control our narrative as far as I want like women of color. You know, don't want white mothers. I really want to name this at women of color. So because so many times, brother George Crawley, hey George, we talked today about Big Mama, and not necessarily Big Mama, about when the people who are the centers of our family pass on. Nobody takes up the mantle of that bridge. And he asked me very much to agreed that people my age, 50, I said 60 down to their 40s, I think it's our fault mostly what's going on with our kids, this generation of kids. We can talk about exposure to the internet, we can talk about this and that and this and that. At the end of the day, parents should parent. And if parents are failing in that task, it's up to the community to reach out, touch these kids, and make and do things to make their first off instill values, and two to make sure that they become the men and women we think that's suitable for our community. We're not doing that. We have failed at that. This whole me, it ain't my problem. You can't talk to my kids. Bullshit is no. Making Georgia is just showing symptoms of a larger problem, but look at the shit we got going on here. Um, so these stories, these testimonies of our mother, the goodness, the grace, the love that she gave us. I want us to document these. And I want us to share these and be able to start conversations, restart these traditions, restart the family reunions, restart trips, restart Sunday dinners. Excuse me. Reestablish our community and our family. Um, don't just go see her talk about your mom on Mother's Day because these videos will be available 24/7 through Making One Community Connections, the YouTube channel, and hopefully it needs to be shared on Facebook. You know, you see something that touches you, share with your family. Like, hey, you remember we used to do something like this? Oh, that'd be cool. Let's restart these traditions. I think this is me being an optimist that we can get back to a place of love in our community. And if we do that within our community, we reestablish ourselves. We establish a means to have conversations to how we are interacting with the whole. So let's start it. Charity begins at home, right? That's what the whole saying is, right? So let's restart it in our home, and it's not just our home, our community, our network, our connected unit of people we know. Let's talk about our stories. Let's talk about Momma. Now, I plan on replicate this you know for Father's Day. Daddy was blank, So, but it's all about mamas this time. But yeah, it's all about the grandfathers. Now I'm shifting to talking about our mama stories. Um, definitely gonna share a story from my mother. I think I'm gonna invite my brother to share one as well. We talked about cousins. Definitely get them to talk about mothers and the things, the stories of strength, the stories of comedy, the times when your mother tore that ass up, but you understood why. The time that mother went above and beyond, or that favorite meal, or that Christmas when you got everything on your Christmas list and you know mama struggled for it because you didn't understand how she was working and got the things from happening. I want to embrace our mothers, and hopefully in these stories we can get these our young men to see how special a mother is in women. It's just our boys because you hear some of the music, you hear some of the conversations. Uh, you're looking at Slapgate, how it's become about women, especially black women. Oh, so much. I can't fix this. All I can do is be that voice. And down the road, I may just feel like, well, this dude was crazy. Yeah, I'm all right with that. But that dialogue, that recognition of the power of our mothers is something that transcends just taking her out to eat on Mother's Day, going to church with her. See her. See her. You understand what I'm saying? See your mother. Show reverence for your mother. Got a t-shirt design I'm throwing around on my head. Probably not gonna say it online, but involves bridging the gap between the youth and the elders. Um, what I started doing at night is very interesting. I get my phone, and if I wake up, have a message or idea, I put a little note on it. Michael Baisden mentioned doing something like this years ago. I didn't do it. I started back doing it now. Had some ideas for shirts. Had ideas for a plate too, but I'm not at a point where I'm ready to do the play yet. But I want to put down the rough outline already. Again, you have these ideas, write them down, write them down. I think the $1 million, I know I've had some $1 million ideas that I've let pass because I didn't have the courage or my conviction to actually follow through with it. So, as I turn 50 this year, this is the year of my 50th birthday. The adult prom is still going on. I'm down to 2 locations. I'll be making an announcement about that probably this week. Yep, this week we're going to do an official flyer and all that. It's prom. You got to dress up. Well, I'm going to dress up. If you want to come celebrate with me for my birthday, you dress up. So, those who never went to a prom, hey, you're invited to come. If you listening to this, you're invited. I'll put down the location. Um, will be cash bar, and pay for your drinks, and food will be available for purchase as well. You'll, yeah, both locations. So, well, probably one more than the other day. But I'm having a DJ. I'm gonna have an MC as of right now. Big Man is going to be my MC. We're gonna play music from the '70s, '80s, '90s, 2000s up to current. You know, highlight a few hits from each year for the past 50 years. Making memories, making miracles. I think is the theme. I got to get with my planning committee. But yep, that is that as far as that. Again, your mama. Go to the YouTube channel probably by Friday. No, I'll probably officially launch this on Easter. Yep. Make it Easter Sunday. I'll make this officially available so you to upload your videos, your stories, 2 to 5 minutes about your mama, your mama. And let's see, what's my encouragement for that? Okay, I'm gonna give away some shirts for that. What I would do is give away, um, I'll be customized shirts for your mother if she's still alive, and your siblings, up to 10 siblings. I think I'm gonna get my brother to help me pick it, and Evan. Me and my brother and Evan gonna pick out the best one who we feel best is deserving of the prize. So again, shirts for the mother and sibling and the siblings. Now, not your mother's brother, not your mother's sister, mother and your siblings, whoever across the video. So up to I feel radical. Say your mom got 10 kids. I do it with 11 shirts. Now don't say well it's my play. Well, I even do adopted kids. Yep. So I mean really adopted or foster. You know, no play cousin, no play sister, nothing like that. Or brother, your siblings. You know, I think foster parents and adopted siblings are real family. I always supported that. So, and we'll announce the winner at least a week before. Ooh, so I think it's like 2.5, 3 weeks. Yeah, yeah, 2.5, 3 weeks. 3 weeks, okay. The Friday before Mother's Day is when I announce and make sure that you get, we'll get with you about your shirts and whatever. I announce the winner. Um, Again, this is version 2.2, 2.3. By the time we get 3.0, we can be rolling on all cylinders. We fire, we can get this show up and going. We have a producer in house. Um, Before my 50th birthday. That is the plan. Again, tonight's broadcast went off pretty smoothly. I'm gonna have one little minor glitch um, with restarting of the audio from the second one. My sound levels look good in Audacity. That's what I use for the streaming. Well, that's what I use to record the streaming. And the sound levels definitely look good on the YouTube, which I'm very glad to see that. I haven't got any message saying that they can't hear me, or either that, or they just give it up for watching this. But that's okay because it's gonna be online. If you don't watch it live, you can watch it at a later time. It's okay. You don't if it hasn't have value to you now, it will, hopefully. But I believe even if it doesn't, I did this again. This is not just for me; it's for my kids. I feel like they'll know that I did my part to promote healing and dialogue in a time where people talk at each other, not to each other. Dad may not have had a huge 401k. Dad may not have done this, but Dad did try. Think of Ralph Abernathy on his epitaph. I tried, and so I'm good with that. Now, if I win the lottery and buy everybody houses, that's a whole different story. But you know, 50 years old, unless something really happens, one of my ideas has come to fruition and makes me a whole lot of money. Um, my love and my values is my contribution to my kids and my community. That is immeasurable. You know anything about me, you know that I have a big heart, and I'm not afraid to use it. Not afraid to show my emotions. Not afraid to be vulnerable. Getting better at that, especially not just my concern for others, but how I feel inside, how I treat myself. Um, but all right, so I thank y'all for your hour of your time. The radio's Audacity broadcast podcast is probably a little shorter because we want to chip it up a little bit. One day I'm actually gonna start chopping these up. I got episodes in the can, so that's a good thing. Well, till next time, thank you.